I'm almost 16 again, laying round doing nothing. Like all my friends, play it cool, don't get angry. Count up to 10, just like I was 16 again.
I lived in Wandsworth, in a place, well, the part of Wandsworth called Battersea, where it was known as Between the Commons, because at one end of the road there was Clapham Common, and at the other end of the road was Wandsworth Common. So it was thought of as being the most desirable place to live, by my parents anyway. I was at the top of the first landing, the room straight in front of the first landing, which was next to the bathroom. And in there, I'd been given my dad's old radiogram, which was a record player and a radio. And I'd found a way to get into the input stage of it, where I could then plug my guitar and amplify my guitar and use it as a guitar amplifier. And then later on, we had like 3 or 4 wires going there, so that the whole band could rehearse in my bedroom. That was when he said, no, you better use the basement because there's too many people in your bedroom. The school had its own full orchestra. It was very interesting too that the school had a vibrant drama group, and a recording studio had been built there to accommodate making the soundtrack for plays and sound effects for plays. And it was quickly kind of dragged over to the music department where, you know, I started to record my band in there, you know, because it was a perfect way of recording inexpensively. The first band was called Roadworks Ahead. The second band was called Stonehenge, and then that band became Matumbi. My first acting role was when I was asked by our sister school, a school called Marion Thornton. I went to a school called Spencer Park School on Trinity Road, Wandsworth. And it was an all-boys school, and there was an all-girls school that on the other common, Clapham Common, that whenever they needed boys for their plays, they got boys from our school. And whenever we needed girls for our plays, we got girls from their school. So I was invited to their drama group to read for a part in a play called Les Bourgeois Gentilhommes, one of Molière's plays. And I read for the part of Monsieur Jourdain, the bourgeois gentilhomme, and was awarded the part. So then I had to play it. And at that time, I remember not being allowed to wear jeans by my dad, but being allowed to go to the Army and Navy store, right, where these Air Force jackets, you know, were warm, inexpensive, and very stylish. You know, these Air Force officer jackets, right? And actually they were grey, so it was within the black or grey of the school uniform, you know, requirement. And, but very stylish. And then kind of walking into the grand hall of this girls' school, right? Wearing my Air Force jacket and kind of walking and like, you must give me the part. I made a loop. I took 4 bars of music from a very popular #1 reggae song and edited it so that it went round and round and round, very much in the way that they do that now. This loop, I then got a drum track, a drum intro, stuck that on there. I played the loop onto another tape recorder, right? Both 1/4 inch. And then I had on the other quarter inch, I had a full 3 or 4 minute version of my 4-bar loop going round and round and round. And then I invited one of the masters who played trombone and flute to play the melody of Guantanamera on that loop. And afterwards, we went to a blues dance where there was a sound system by the name of Jim Daddy playing. And I had cut an acetate because at that time I was dabbling with outdoor recordings. There's a gentleman by the name of John Hassel who had lived in Barnes, and he had a mobile recording facility, him and his wife, Felicity. And amongst people that they recorded was like the Latvian Song Festival at the Royal Albert Hall, and Jasper Carrott, when Jasper Carrott was a folk singer, and he released records on a label called Sweet Folk All, right? And so I got this acetate cut from this loop that I'd made with Guantanamera being played over the top of it, right? And taken it to this blues dance where this sound system was playing, and handed it over to Jim Daddy and said, play that, right? And he played it and he went, where'd you get that from? I'll give you £3 for it. He went, give us it here then. And sold it to him for £3, which earned me the name of Blackbeard, because I had also been growing a beard for the school play, and the kids started calling me Blackbeard. I had been quite a boxer, and I was quite big for my age. At the age of 12, I was like 5'10". So most boys would not pick a fight with me, right? And anyway, I was not into the warring factions of the school. I was one of the boys that kind of bridged the gap between different people. In my friends, the group of friends that I had, there was a Chinese boy, an Indian boy, Pakistani boy, some Jamaicans, and some English boys. Our group was, the multicultural group that hung about together. And if you picked on any one of us, you picked on us all, right? So idiots would know to stay clear. Idiots on both sides, I mean, or on any side, because there were packs of West Indian boys, that were a certain way. There's packs of white boys that were a certain way. And they would usually clash, but not involve any of my friends, because, we were a force not to be messed with. My best friend when I was 16 was a boy by the name of Lanny Glenmore Fagan. He's no longer with us. He was the lead singer of Matumbi. He passed away about 10 years ago, I think, now. But we were always seen together. His birthday was on the 11th and mine was on the 22nd. So he was known affectionately as Ones and I was known as Twos. And he used to frequently say to me, respect your elders, boy. I'm 11 days older than you. And I go, respect those that have come from a heavier number than you. I was born on the 22nd. That's like a heavier date than the 11th. There's more power to the 22 than the 11, that's kind of banter. And we wrote loads of songs together, and he was the son of a Methodist minister. And so he was very knowledgeable about spiritual music and knew how to hold harmonies. And between him and an ex-boy called Nick Straker, he's a famous musician, he's still alive. And the three of us were part of Stonehenge. Nick was the keyboard player, Bevan was the singer, and I was a guitar player. And yes, at that time, we were just about getting ready to form Matumbi. On my feet, a pair of brogues, a mohair tonic suit that had been cut by either John Collier or Burton's, right? Or a blazer with the leather patch on the elbows, and the Ben Sherman shirt, for sure, and with a splash of Brut, I suppose. There were boys at school that were, as I was studying music, they were studying tailoring, you know, and there were boys who didn't want to be musicians, they wanted to make clothes. And some of those boys would very colourfully, right, adjust their school uniform to look a certain way. In fact, about that time, boys started wearing flares. And my dad warned me, said, don't you ever let me catch you in a pair of those. And boys were like cutting the side of the seam of the trousers and adding bits of colourful cloth, you know, that just opened out. It looked a bit feminine, but it also, you know, appealed to some boys. And there were boys who were getting other boys to kind of tailor their blazers so that, you know, their blazer, and put like 6 buttons at the end of their blazer, you know, cut the sleeve of the blazer and stuff like that, you know, fashion conscious. And I remember going to the Army and Navy store, because that was my favourite place to shop, Petticoat Lane on a Sunday, right? You know, 30 bob, got a pair of trousers, right? And getting sailors' trousers, which were not flared, but kind of wider at the bottom, more like a bell-bottom kind of thing, right? Getting them in white and buying 3 or 4 pairs, dyeing one green, dye one black, you know, those were positively kind of rock wear, you know, but not for the old man to see. On a Friday night, I wouldn't have been allowed to go anywhere because my mother and all her family are from a religion called the Seventh-day Adventists. Now, this religion, when the sun goes down on Friday, it becomes the Sabbath until the sun goes down again on Saturday. So between sunset on Friday and sunset on Saturday, that's the Sabbath. You go to church. You know, you involve yourself with spiritual things. So I was never allowed to play for the school team, cricket or rugby or any of those activities that took place on a Saturday morning. So Saturday morning, I was firmly in Brixton Seventh-day Adventist Church with my, you know, my mum and my sisters, and, you know, yeah. My own father had a bit of a sound system, you see, because he would keep parties at the house. He was not religious, my mum was. Oh, my mum is. He didn't really, you know, subscribe to that kind of thing. And so he would keep parties, you know, he worked for London Transport, had lots of friends, they'd come over to the house, they didn't have clubs to go to, they would have to provide themselves with their own entertainment. And because Dad was importing records from America, from Jamaica, from Trinidad, from Africa, you know, I mean, that was the first time I heard like Fela Kuti. In fact, later on in life, when I started to work with Fela Kuti, my dad thought, yeah, you've made it, you're working with someone of repute there. You know what I mean? And so he'd have all these records and people would come to parties at the house, you know, like once a month or something. So, and he would let me use the amplification that he had for his sound system for the group to play through, you know, and all this would be to ensure that I didn't go out and didn't get into trouble with the police or with, you know, rowdy crowds of boys. But all my friends would come to the house and their parents were happy that they had somewhere to go, you know, and my dad was happy that, you know, that he would get a look at all of my friends. I'd not been to Barbados for many a year since I came, and I tended to be hanging out with other West Indian children from Trinidad, from Jamaica, from Grenada, St. Vincent, and getting to know them. And there was about 2 other people from Barbados that I knew, but I didn't know them in Barbados, and their parents didn't really know mine. It was just that the boys at school, that were from Barbados. But and then the focus was mainly on kind of Jamaican music. So everybody kind of gravitated towards the ska and the blue beat and the rock steady and then the reggae thing. And it gave us a kind of identity as being one kind of people, being interested in the same thing, and it set us apart from the pop lovers and the rock lovers, because they didn't really understand that beat and they hadn't opened their minds to it yet, So for us to be following that, it was like we'd become a sort of different cult, and be talking about Africa all the time, and a lot of people in the rock scene and the pop scene didn't want to go there because they thought it was going to dredge up bad memories of slavery, and then there'd be like maybe acts of revenge or something like that. And I knew a lot of white kids that were positively not happy about what had gone on, but what could they do about it? It had already been done. It hadn't been done in their name. It had been done by their kind, but it wasn't them that had done it. At 16, I knew that I was going to be a musician, and my dad was constantly saying to me, "Okay, fine, but what are you going to fall back on?" I'm like, "What do you mean fall back? I'm not going to fall back. I'm going to go down the road. I'm not even going to look back, and it's going to be full steam ahead." And he's going, "Yeah, but you might not, be able to afford a decent dinner in a restaurant." So I go, "No restaurant, I'm going to cook my own food." And so he's going, "Yeah, but you might want to go out, you have to pay for that." I go, he's going, "Well, if you're not making money, because all my musician friends don't make much money." So he's going, "Why don't you apply for a job at British Telecom or something?" I was going, "No, Dad, no." He's going, "All right then. Why don't you go to the careers office and see what careers the career master is going to advise you on?" And I went and saw the career master, and he said, "There's a new thing just about being started that I think you could, avail yourself of the knowledge of that." And I'm going, "What's that?" He's going, "Contact lenses." I go, "Oh, contact lenses, what are they?" "Oh, there's these things that people put in their eyes and they don't have to wear glasses, and you could learn to be a contact lens technician." I thought, "Oh, that sounds like something that my dad would, appreciate." So I went back and said, "Dad, I've got it. Contact lenses." And he went, yeah, contact lenses, they're a new thing." Going, "Yeah, I'm going to get in at the forefront of that." And then I went and signed up to do an apprenticeship, working for a firm called Omega that made one of the first firms in this country that made contact lenses in Marylebone Lane. So it meant that by the time I was 18, I went to do this contact lens technician apprenticeship with a view to perhaps becoming an optician at some later, But then, the music bug got a hold of me, and it was like, I could never wake up to be at work on time because I was in the studio the night before or gigging or something. And then the boss once called me and said, "I'm going to do you a favor." I said, "What's that?" He said, "So as you can pursue your musical career, you're sacked." I was like, "Thank you very much."